Hey, this is the Chair Guy. Today we're going to talk about pentatonic scales. So I have the 12 notes of Western European music, A through G sharp, A through G sharp again, and then I'm closing that with another A, so we have two full octaves, and here I have the identical thing right next to each other. Now, a diatonic scale is just a 7-note pattern we take from those 12 notes that have a certain intervallic relationship, which is just a fancy way of saying that all of these notes are certain distances from the root and, of course, certain distances from each other, and we know they sound good together. A pentatonic scale, on the other hand, is just a 5-note pattern that does the same thing, except, and this is the important part, when we take the pentatonic scale and we put it right next to the diatonic scale, we realize that they're almost the same thing. We've just removed 2 notes from the diatonic scale to make the pentatonic scale, in this case the D and the G sharp. And what those 2 notes have in common is that they're the only 2 diatonic notes that are right beside other notes. In this case, the D is right beside the C sharp and the G sharp is right beside the A. So with all of these notes, we know that there are no notes right next to each other with the pentatonic scale, and that just makes it very stable and therefore in certain ways makes it easier to solo with. Minor works the exact same way. Here is the minor diatonic pattern and here is the minor pentatonic pattern. And once again, if we flip this around and put them right next to each other, we see that they are the same. Again, we are skipping 2 notes, in this case the B and the F, and once again these 2 notes are notes that are right beside a note. And so the thing that the pentatonic scale allows us to do is, because there are no notes right next to each other, we have no tension. And the simplest way of putting that is that all 5 of these notes are going to sound good together regardless of what order you play them. Diatonic just requires a little more finesse. If I stretch this diatonic shape out to 3 octaves, just to give myself a little more space, I can show you something interesting. First of all, instead of calling this the major diatonic shape, I'm going to call it the master shape, or the master pattern, because if you come to understand this pattern, you'll automatically understand a lot of things about music, especially on guitar, where it makes this very simple. So first of all, if we take the major pentatonic shape and we flip it around and put it on the first note on the root, then, of course, just like before, every note in the pentatonic shape is going to line up with a note in the master shape. But if we put it on the second note of the scale, we notice that there's going to be certain notes that are going to be different. If we put it on the third note of the scale, there will also be notes that are going to be different. However, if we put it on the fourth note, or the fifth note, all the notes in the pentatonic shape are going to line up with notes in the master shape. If we do this with the minor shape, then remember we have to move to F sharp, which is the 6th note of the scale, and that is because F sharp is the relative minor for A, so this will always work. Wherever you put this pattern, this note will be the root and this note will be the relative minor. Then you see with the minor pentatonic shape that all the notes in this shape line up with notes in the master shape. If we move to the second position and the third position, then of course we have notes that don't match up. However, when we move to the fourth note and to the fifth note, all the notes match up with the pentatonic shape. This does not work with diatonic. If, for instance, I took the major diatonic shape and I put it right here, it wouldn't matter where you put it. There are going to be notes that aren't going to match. It only works with this pentatonic shape. And that actually says some very interesting things about how absolutely brilliant the mathematics are behind this master shape. And remember, guys, if you check out my website, musicalchairsystem.com, you can get diagrams and stickers and even a free diagram.